Welcome back. Greetings, family. Here we're at another lecture today, focusing on this subject matter is false beliefs told by liars about Dr. Malachi Z K York. We have three topics that we want to address about these false beliefs. The first topic that we will be talking about is Dr. York a con man whose goal is to trick ignorant black people out of money? Is Dr. York a con man whose goal is to trick black people out of money? That's what they say, right? The second topic we're going to talk about is Dr. York is mentally disturbed, being possessed by negative spirit beings. Dr. York is mentally disturbed, being possessed by mentally spirit beings.
Possessed?
Yeah, that's what NoopooH is, and the fact that he's a child molester and all that other stuff, right? So he's mentally disturbed. And the last thing we want to talk about is Dr. York is a black supremacist and racist conscious teacher whose doctrine is full of plagiarized pseudo information.
Oh, that's a whopper. That's a lot. Okay.
Yeah, Dr. York is a black supremacist, racist, conscious teacher whose doctrine is full of plagiarized pseudo information.
Okay.
So those are the three topics. Now going back to the first one, Dr. York the con man, whose goal is to make money.
So he's pimping everybody's minds.
He's pimping. His whole thing is to make money. That's what Chuck Wagon pushes. Chuck Morgan. I call him Chuck Wagon. But no disrespect. But I say Chuck Wagon because he must be on some funny wagon with these claims, man. They're crazy claims. Dr. York is a con man whose goal is to make money. Think about that one. Think about it. Now, what's Dr. York's specialty?
Writing. Books.
Books. Teaching.
Teaching.
Teaching what? Religious theology.
Yes.
The question is this, and this is for Chuck. Name one black preacher that knows the Bible better than Dr. York. Name one black preacher that knows the Bible better than Dr. York.
If he's honest, nobody. I've never heard anyone.
If he said that there are some preachers that know the Bible better than Dr. York would be in the top 3 on the planet when it comes to teaching Christianity, when it comes to teaching Islam, and when it comes to teaching Judaism. And if you don't want to give him top 3, you got to give him top 10.
I don't know how many people have put themselves before like whole audiences to be questioned, and everyone questioned them. People come from all over the world, put a call out, come question.
No, religious teachers don't do that. They don't do that. But be that aside, when you just look at the master teacher, he translated the Psalms of David from Hebrew, right? We translated the Torah from Hebrew, the Injil, the Book of Revelations, from Greek, right? And the Quran from Arabic. What minister has done that? What minister has done that? So, but here's the thing. Chuck's one of those guys who's pushing this comment thing, trying to, it's a hustle. Now, I'm only speaking, this video is only for the intelligent. This video is only for the intelligent.
Why'd you say that?
Because the unintelligent can't comprehend what I'm trying to say here.
Okay.
This is for the rational, intelligent, reasonable mind. Now think about this. When they push, and next time you hear them say Dr. York is a con man who's just about the hustle, most people don't realize how brilliant Dr. York was when it came to religious theology, right? If Dr. York was a con man and it was trying to push a hustle for money, right? What's the biggest hustle in religion? What religion is pulling in the most money?
Christianity.
By far.
Yep.
You know what the money they pull it in? The Christian religion?
Well, the preachers with the preachers with their mega churches and stuff.
Well, they teach First of all, they teach what? In the church. When you go to church, how much you supposed to donate?
Oh, 10%.
10%. They say I think on the books they get about 6.5% on average.
Okay. Oh, you say average amongst all of
the average black church right now in the United States get about just under 7% of the earned income of black people in the United States. Now, how much is the earned income of black people in the United States?
I've heard like $1 trillion.
Is that $1 trillion? Over $1 trillion. They say that the black church every year is bringing in at least $65 billion with a B. $65
in this country?
billion in the United States. The church is racking in $65 billion.
That's an industry. They compete with Microsoft.
That's how much this is the black church.
Black church is taking in
$65
Microsoft level money.
With a B.
Yeah.
Now think about this. If Dr. York was in it for the money, and he's a hustler, a con man, and he knows religion better than any of these guys out here, he can go toe-to-toe with Creflo Dollar, toe-to-toe with T.D. Jakes, toe-to-toe with that white boy, Jimmy Olsen, any of them. Yeah. If he was going to use religion as a hustle, he would not have created, as they say, the Nuwaupian cult. One that, a whole new branch of a religious theology and culture that ain't really making no money. You know how hard that is to sell?
He ain't creating no mega church. None of that stuff.
I mean, if he was going, I'm like, anybody can clearly see that Dr. York is an intelligent individual. Extremely intelligent.
Some of them would say he's too smart. He's so crafty. He's,
extremely intelligent. He had to be smart because, Chuck, you was a student of him for 20 years. You said you was brainwashed by him for 20 years. So obviously, he must be a genius. Had you on the hook for all that length of time, you and Tarnu had you on the hook, right? So the guy must be brilliant. So here's my point. This is the obvious point. If it was about the money, the most safe, why would you join a hustle? Why? Think about this. Why, if this was about money, why would he create an organization called the white man the devil, say that we want to build our own nation separate from the white man, antagonize Caucasian people, make himself out to be a target when every black leader who's done that has been eliminated.
Yeah. And he even made videos about that, persecution of the leaders and all that.
Yeah.
And black people ain't the ones with the main money anyway. So like, why would you alienate the people with the money?
Right. That doesn't make any sense. That doesn't make any sense. So the next time you hear somebody say this stupidness that Dr. York was about hustling for money, my goodness, he could have been triple times bigger than Creflo Dollar.
Yeah, and no disrespect to him, but I heard he was trying to get like another plane.
Yes.
It's like he got 2 private jets and planes. It's like
I want another G5. Another G5.
It's like the master teacher is nowhere near doing anything like that. Trying to get no planes and all.
No, I mean you got Billy the Graham, you got Billy, you got Jimmy Swagger. Those guys are bringing in millions.
Yeah.
They're living the life.
And they're not known for their, super quotability and theologic teachers.
If the master was about the hustle, right, and about making money, why did he have to get $1 million from his nephew for his lawsuit? That's what they said happened. That his nephew had to put up $1 million to pay for the lawyers, his initial lawyers he got.
So where's all his money?
Where's all the money at? Where's all the money at? Now that was the word on the street. I don't know how accurate and true that's what I was told, but I think that the so-called victims, basically, of Dr. York, they were waiting for a payday. That never came. They was waiting for a payday, never came. It's obvious that all the money that Dr. York was making, he made millions. What did he do with it?
Well, he was building communities.
He's building one of the communities.
Well, even in the videos, he said, he spent it, printing up them books.
Yes.
And I've written a book. It's not cheap to print one book, and he's print hundreds and hundreds of books.
I hope we debunk that silliness Dr. York's about. Come on, man. This guy is brilliant. If he wanted to be Creflo Dollar, T.D. Jakes, Reverend Price, he could have did that easy. 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 And it was safe to push money out of the church. That's a safe hustle. And I'm not trying to disrespect the preachers out there, but I mean, come on, guys. $65 million. What do we have to show?
Billion.
Yeah, $65 billion.
Not a million would be enough, but $1 billion.
What do we have to show for it? My brothers, the preachers out there. What do we got? What do black people have to show for the $65 billion that black people are spending on the church? Tax-free dollars too. This is tax-free. What do we have to show for that? Them
pretty mega churches is what we have to show for it.
There you have it. So let's keep it moving. I'm like,
yes, numbers.
Dr. York. So the next one.
I
hope people realize that's a nasty lie. I hope we prove that. That's a silly lie. Any intelligent individual can see that the comment thing, that's a silly lie. So let's move on. Dr. York is mentally disturbed and he's possessed by negative spirit beings. Okay. They'll argue that because of the whole child molestation issues. They'll say anyone who molests children has got to be mentally disturbed. So I'll give you that. I'm not gonna debate whether or not that behavior the individual is mentally disturbed. So that's a non-starter. That's cool. And that he's possessed by negative spirit beings. All right. First of all, Dr. York mentally disturbed. Now, I'll do it this way. Rick, right? He's a slanderer now.
Okay.
He's a slanderer. But here's what's interesting enough. Rick lived on the land, according to Rick. And people asked him, and this is for people who don't know, this is an individual who was a student of the master teacher, right? Who says he supported the master teacher and worked on his case from the beginning, trying to help him get off, okay? At the time, he believed the master teacher was innocent while he was working on the case. He said he didn't begin to turn away from the master teacher and the information, I think 2007 or something like that. And I think he said by 2009 he was done, right?
So a few years after the whole thing started.
So the master teacher was locked up when? What year?
2002.
2002. So by 2007 is when he was like, okay, I don't know about this, right? But that's 5 years in, after the fact. And Rick lived on the land with the master teacher. So from the time he lived on the land till 2007, he had no clue. He had no clue about any of these issues. In fact, all the people on the land, for the most part, had no clue. A lot of people had no clue. The majority of them had no clue, except for the little clique of individuals who was a part of this, right? So what does that say? And especially the greater public, all of us who were students of the master's teacher who was on the outside, we definitely had no clue. I know Chuck didn't have no clue. Tarnoon nobody had no clue about this stuff.
Yeah.
I never even heard it as a rumor, to be honest with you, right? About these incidents and issues. So what's my point? My point is this. But Dr. York was an extremely public individual.
Yeah, always teaching, always talking to people,
Extremely
always around
public.
people. Yeah.
Dr. York has got to have been one of the most public black leaders. Let me do this like this. Dr. York has to have been the most public, accessible black leaders, influential black leaders that we probably has ever had.
You said public accessible, like access to regular people.
Access. Access that stood up for 30 years. Question and answer classes. Anybody can come up to him and question him, talk to him, ask him all kinds of things. Lived with the people. He was completely public, not private. He had no private little cubbyhole mansion. he was off to the side, away from the people, like the rich and famous. You know, we don't have access. We got access to Michael Jordan.
Okay, in their daily lives and all that stuff.
We don't have access to them. We don't have access to LeBron James or Wesley Snipes or these individuals. You know what I mean? Access to them. You with me on that?
I hear you.
Dr. York was just the opposite. I can see someone like Bill Cosby getting all these charges on him. Well, he's a public figure, but he wasn't public.
You saying he still had a private life?
Yes, a lot of people didn't have access to him. So because he had a private type of lifestyle, who knows what was going on behind closed doors? That's what the thing with Michael Jackson, right? Who knows what was going on behind closed doors? Because Michael Jackson accused of the same thing. But what's unique about Dr. York, he was public continuously. Continuously. So, my point is this. If he was mentally deranged, right, and this is what they argue, and he's always with people, no one had a clue. No one had a clue. No one before the incidents, no one would make that argument about them. Other than the slanderers, people who didn't like him. So you gotta get that from haters.
I got you. I got you. If you're around people, because he was teaching and had communities, what's going on 50
He's
years,
constantly
40
public.
years. So it's like you to get an inkling, notice something,
Come
somebody.
on, man. You've been around people. Listen, y'all either work with somebody or you come across somebody. You know.
Yeah, they got nervous twitch.
Something's wrong with them.
Yeah,
you know
or they'll get upset and they'll go off and you're like, oh, that person got a short temper. Stay away from that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see trigger signs.
Or somebody will say something like, nah, I'll shoot y'all up. Or, somebody,
You see it. Yeah. You see it. You can't hide it.
Triggers. They come out.
Certain people have personalities that you see it. That's just, that's they're not too stable. They're not wrapped too tight. Yeah.
Well, those are the type of people you wouldn't want to be around them. Unlike Dr. York, where everybody was constantly trying to be around him.
Is all of these things and questioning his stability didn't come till after the accusations and claims of other individuals. Because all you gotta do is listen to the brother Tariq, one of the victims.
Yeah.
And I like to point that out. Now, he interviewed with, and y'all can go look this up, he interviewed with Sarnetta and that brother.
When they was at that little restaurant.
The Dagger guy. And now, the Dagger Squad guy, right, was asking the brother Tariq, outside of Dr. York doing the sexual things to you, what other bad stuff did he do?
Yeah, he was digging for that. He was digging for bad personality traits, all that. Yeah.
And according to the brother Tariq, nothing.
Yeah, he was like, he wouldn't hurt a fly.
He said, outside of those issues, outside of him being this demon child molester, I had no issues with him. None. He said, in fact, it was perfect. He said the lifestyle and everything else was perfect. If it wasn't for that, everything else is perfect. Right? So even the victims will sit there and promote Dr. York's behavior in the positive, from one point in a positive light. Because they couldn't dig up as the Dagger guy. He tried to get some more daggers. Yeah. What's that guy? What was that? Psycho? Yeah, the Psycho Dagger. Yeah, Psycho guy. Yeah, I'm like, really? You're going to call yourself that? That's what you're going to associate with killing and murdering people? Whatever. And they want to say Dr. York is the one with the problem, mentally problem. But these are the associations we choose. And I'm not trying to get on the brother, but I'm like, really, we need to think about what we call ourselves. Right?
Yeah.
But I'm trying to make a point. They're arguing that he's mentally disturbed. And it's like, where's the evidence? I even heard Chuck say they locked him up, right? Okay. They locked him up, and then they did a psych evaluation, and the psychologist came back, he's crazy. Dr. York is
Okay.
mentally deranged. And I'm like, this brother. But all these years, with all the public, no one's seen this. No one's seen it.
Well after the fact.
Right. Now all of a sudden, he's mentally deranged. And yet he's one of the most public figures. This is what I'm trying to expose. How can you be that public for that many years? You're talking about 30 years now, day in, day out with people. People from all walks of life. Questioning him, being around him, living with him.
The one thing shocked me was watching a video of the testimony of one of the prisoners that he was around.
Right.
I don't know if you remember.
The Caucasian guy?
Yeah. And he was like, it was like he changed his life, helped him be a better man. I was like, if there's anywhere you turn crazy, it's in some maximum security prison.
That's another lie. It's just another lie.
Yeah. I'm like, if you're going to turn crazy, that's the time to turn crazy in prison.
It's another nasty lie. It's just that simple. It's another nasty lie. I'm like, really?
My name is Robert Daniel. I'm a 49-year-old citizen of the United States. I am not a Nuwaupian. I'm here on behalf of Dr. Malachi York, who I met 3 months ago in the Jones County LEC. I never knew him before then, and I witnessed. I'm not under the influence, or I'm doing this tape of my own free will. I've suffered some of the same things that Dr. York is going through, still going through now, and I felt compelled to do this on his behalf. It's the right thing to do. I was in the Jones County LEC from February the 19th of this year, 2004. I was released 3 days ago, July 20th, I believe the date was, on a Monday. And I witnessed what went on. I was in the same block with Dr. York for the latter 3 months of my jail term, and I witnessed a lot of things that went on with him, and it actually filtered off of his situation onto me, just because I was a good friend of his in the jailhouse. The inmates all knew it. We could see a change in direction on how they would give me things that I needed, like pain medication like Advil, or check on things like my mail. They even got to the point that they would hold my mail back. They started opening up my legal mail with me not present. I would receive it with an open state. And I know definitely that's not right. They were doing the same things to me that they were doing to Dr. York. And we were both being singled out of the 16 inmates in that block. And it just wasn't right for them to do it to him or me. And that's why I'm here now.
To reiterate, are you being compensated or paid or any form of fashion, or why are you doing this tape?
I'm not being paid. I'm doing this tape out of compassion for my friend, out of compassion for any inmate that will come into that jail system. It needs shaping up. The jail system does. Unless somebody does something. Most inmates have a beef, a gripe, grounds for even lawsuits when they leave there, but they don't do nothing. Mm-hmm. And this opportunity for me to help to get something done. Mm-hmm. at that county jail system. Mm-hmm. But I have not been approached with any deals. I just have been involved up there with their shenanigans going on. Mm-hmm. And Dr. York is my friend, and he's being done. He's being done wrong up there. I know that for a fact. You got 2 officers down there in the form of Lovick and Woods that are they're treating inmates wrong. Mm-hmm. And Dr. York and myself are high on the list to be treated the way we are. We don't suck up to them. We just we try to play fair.
As far as the inmate's relationship with Dr. York, as far as his case, because he's charged with, among a few other things, child molestation is a very serious charge, and usually child molestation, even alleged molesters, once you're accused of that, you become a monster,
right.
Things like that. So what is the feel in there as far as the inmates and the jailers, as opposed to him being charged with molestation?
Well, I'm human too, and I first landed there in T block, adjacent to A block, where Dr. York is. I never heard the man talk. I just see him walking by, going to stores of visitation. He was always good spirits, and I was like general population, manipulated by the news media that he was guilty, sex molestation, and I'm not a violent kind. I would just like shake my head or inside I would think that, shake my head like, how could you, like that. Then when I got over in the cell with him, it didn't take but 2 or 3 days, I realized this man ain't guilty. Mm-hmm. It's just certain vibes people put out, and everybody, a lot of them were getting closer contact to Dr. York through me. I would get to know them where he would alienate from him because he didn't know him, and I would tell him he's all right, he's not out to get you, nothing like that, or playing their games and all. And everyone that got to know him, nobody has been in that block with him, and they have a turnover every 3 or 4 weeks. Mm-hmm. Nobody's come out of that block saying that he was guilty. Mm-hmm. Everybody that has been in that block with that man realized he was innocent. The people in my world, I run across that debate with them now. They're relying on the news media that says he's guilty, and I get tired of them saying he's guilty, but I won't get tired of saying he's innocent, because an innocent man shouldn't have served time. Right. For anything. Mm-hmm. And he's an innocent man. He's a friend of mine, and for that reason, and the reason that the inmates that I left up there, I know at least 60 of them, for the sake of all of them, the jail needs to change. The jail needs to change. Somebody needs to do something to change the way the jail's been ran. Okay.
Are you willing to, in case Dr. York pursues like a lawsuit or things of how he's been treated, how the jail has been treating him, and things like that, are you willing to back up this video with testimony in court if need be?
Very much so. Okay. When I do something, I follow through with it. This does my heart good to do this, and I'm here. I still feel his pain. Mm-hmm. I shared it, and I still feel it now. I feel like I've been violated.
Okay, so if Dr. York had a chance to see this tape, what would you tell him at this point? Now that you're on the other side, now that you're out, and he's still incarcerated, and you witnessed all the things he's going through and still going through, what would you say to him now at this point?
Hang in there. Stick to your guns. You will be out. That's the way I feel. I feel the case is turning around on him. He's a Liberian diplomat. He was a Liberian diplomat when they arrested him, and he's still one now. And he knows he's going to get out. He just knows it. He knows he's innocent, and he will get out. And I believe that with him. And I feel like everybody else in there does. The man's been railroaded. It ain't right to do people like that. They see it go on with other people. Inmates are smart in areas that the general population ain't. They know how the system works. They know how inmates are done wrong. They know he's been done wrong. And I know he's been done wrong. And I would tell him to just stick to his guns, hang in there. He will be out. He will be out. Okay. Most of the inmates leave from up there, and they do not do anything about how they were treated. They just let it drop. People in general are lazy, and Dr. York, he helped me in a lot of ways, and I helped him too. He surprised me one time at a supper table and asked me did I realize how much I'd helped him. I said, how? He had really lost his faith in humanity, especially the Caucasian race, and I helped restore that. And in turn, he has helped me to become more spiritual aware, and I'm a better person from being around Dr. York. My life is together. I needed him to come into my life, or someone like him, at this particular time in my life to set me back on the right track. I went through a divorce 3 years ago, and it's been a rough road since. I'm not the first one to travel that road. Won't be the last one. But fortunately, Dr. York was there to point me down the better road. And I thank him for that. I owe him a lot for that. And he's a good man. He's a real good man.
Okay.
Really? So that's just a nasty lie. As far as him being mentally it's like, come on, he has 30 years of public interaction. Thousands of people that he's dealt with on a daily basis.
And that's the other thing. No leaders open themselves up to their,
never
people. And
have they ever done what Dr. York has done. And yet he get crucified for it. He get crucified. And y'all crucify him with the enemy who's a bigger child molester than the Caucasian race of people, unfortunately.
Or just people molested, period. They just...
But yet send a Caucasian to judge him. This wicked, corrupt society. How can a wicked, corrupt society judge anyone? It's an oxymoron. And you got black people chanting, yeah, he's locked up. He's locked up. We are sick people. And yet y'all want to cry when they gun down Trayvon Martin. Or what's that brother? The list goes on. I forget all the names of all the young brothers, and with Sandra Bland, and the list goes on, of all the brothers and sisters that they gunned down, and then you want to cry, boo-hoo-hoo, and then all of a sudden you want to cheer when they lock up Doc. I'm like, yeah, we are sick people. We're really, I mean that literally. We're the sick ones. We're the sick ones. One minute is, Polite said it best. He said it best. He said it best.
Oh, one
right?
minute.
The white man is the devil until it comes to Dr. York. He said, that's like the best. It's, let's keep it moving. I hope we settle that. That's a nasty lie. That's a nasty lie. To sit there and say that Dr. York is mentally deranged. There's no evidence for that. And then Chuck Morgan talking about, the white man psychiatrist said it. Anyway, let's what's the next one we want to do?
Follow.
So let's say Dr. York is a black supremacist racist. Now that's on the I think they put that on Wikipedia.
Okay.
I can't dispute that one. Because the Caucasians they wrote that. So he's got to be that to them. Because we teach black supremacy. That the black man is supreme.
I was going to say, especially with the timing this is February 2018. The new most popular movie coming out, Black Panther, which is probably one of the most, they would say, Afrocentric movies. But there's nothing negative about it. But constantly, anybody can check this. All you'll see is negative publicity from a bunch of Caucasians. I'm not saying all of them, but there's a lot of people out here calling this movie racist. They saying, why they gotta have this out, this, bringing up negative publicity. The point is, when it comes to anything black in this culture, it's gonna be opposite and opposed.
It is what it is. So it's Dr. York is a black supremacist, racist, conscious teacher whose doctrine is full of plagiarized pseudo information. Right?
You want to address that? Plagiarism and pseudo.
Plagiarized pseudo. And this is another one of those nasty lies that they're out there to Tarnoon, like, he's he's plagiarizing Afro Uno in Nature Knowledge. And Chuck Morgan, he copied and stole the breath book. And what is that? He had some Caucasian guy. He said, is this the master that that guides your pen? I give him. I give them this. Those guys are the masters of sarcasm. They have some nasty insults. They have tongues of a viper. They spit some nasty venom at someone who's never did that to them. Dr. York never did that to those brothers, but yet they find it necessary to do that to him. Now we know why, because they're hurt. They're hurt. They're hurt. Dr. York was their savior. Their savior was taken from them, and they invested time, money, and years, and you can't get those years back. Chuck put in 20 years, whatever, into this information. Tarnoon, I don't know, a decade at least, right? You can't get that back. And so when you put so much time into a belief, into an individual, and then you see that individual taken down by the beast, by the disagreeable ones, the white man, especially something like this, child molestation, and you have a group of individuals from the organization say, yes, he's guilty. That crushes people. Those brothers are crushed. And a lot of people are crushed. I mean, they're devastated. They're devastated. And that's really where anger is coming from, because they dedicated their lives into an individual that they thought was the savior. And to be taken down like that. So I get where they're coming from, because it hurt all of us to see that happen. And then the type of charge, I mean, listen, guys, you're dealing with the master deceiver, the devil. When the devil comes at you, he's going to come right. When the devil comes to take you down, he's going to come right. Y'all got to take that into consideration. I'm not saying what the devil is saying is a lie, and I'm not saying what the devil is saying is the truth about Dr. York. What I am saying is, think about when the devil comes for you, you think the devil going to come wrong?
No, they are definitely not going to be half-stepping at all.
I'm like, did they think about that? I'm like, when the devil comes for you, he ain't going to come he's not going to come half-stepping.
No, not at all. Not at all. I mean, the master put it out. That's what I brought up before. He put out in that lecture, Persecution of the Leaders, that they've done that before. And
think about this, and this is for Tarnoon and Chuck, right? Mm. If your brain can imagine this, if their brain and people who think like them can imagine this, imagine what Dr. York, everything that Dr. York was teaching is the truth. Imagine that.
Okay.
Imagine that. If everything that Dr. York was teaching was the truth, right? Right? Then wouldn't he be the supreme enemy of the white man, aka the devil? Wouldn't he be the supreme enemy, the ultimate challenge that the devil, the white man, has to take down? If everything he was saying was the truth. So if the devil's got to come after this guy, he has to come at him in such a way that he obliviate this guy's image, likeness, concepts, everything.
That was the reason.
Wouldn't that? I mean, wouldn't that make sense? Just wouldn't that mean if our minds could just imagine that if, and I'm just saying if, I'm not saying, if, according to y'all, what Dr. York was standing on was the truth, right? That the disagreeable ones knew they had to stop it, and they had to stop it in such a way that the people, because what's the devil's specialty when they coming at you?
Divide and conquer.
That's their specialty. I mean, that's they freaking,
But nobody seems to catch on with that, though. It's like that's the specialty that everybody's missing.
That's the a la carte, man.
Yeah,
they just took out Mugabe in Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
They did it nice. You know what I'm saying? I mean, when they can't take you out nice, they come hard. You know,
they
come
did
they
Gaddafi.
They But they had to come with the Gaddafi. They came with the iron fist because they couldn't take him out with finesse. I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? They had to come with the iron fist with him. They had to come with the iron fist with Saddam, basically. But others, you know, they come with finesse. They come with finesse. For some reason, they get black leaders with finesse. Why is that? They don't really get black leaders with the iron fist too much.
No, it's always something underhanded or some scandal. It's usually some scandal or something.
Yeah, they come with the finesse thing.
It's dividing. I mean,
is it because black people are easy to turn on each other?
It's a good question.
Do we hate ourselves that much that is that easy to trigger us to turn on each other?
Saying we might not need the iron fist. Finesse is enough.
We might not need the iron fist. We might not need the iron fist.
That's a sad reality if that's the case.
I mean, think about this. What was the point in destroying the land? Now, of course, I guess Chuck Morgan would agree with that now, because he thinks everything in Nuwaupu needs to be destroyed, him and Tarnoon. So, I mean, they're really deranged to think like that. But for the reason in thinking mind, why would they need to destroy the land that we created, right? The Tamaray. And we'll show pictures of the beautiful land. What that got to do with Dr. Young? They didn't come lock up no one else in the organization. We had I don't know, a couple hundred people that lived on the land, right? Why you had to take the land from all of our students of this information who helped support and build and develop the land, right? Other than Chet said that the Caucasian built the land, but anyway, that's here there. But my point is that what would be the point in taking the land from us? Other than the dagger squad, they stick a dagger in us, right?
Well, if that was the case, then it wasn't ever about. It was about the people, stopping the people as a whole.
It's about the information. It's about the information. It's about the information. So, obviously, we're going to do a detailed discussion about the plagiarism, addressing from the perspective what Tarnoon is saying about Afro-Unu, and I've been saying this. That's a lie. Who Tarnoon and them has been saying is Afro-Unu, the brother Eugene Brown. That's a lie. He is not Afro-Unu. That brother Tarnoon knows this. He knows it. He knows that brother that he's claiming Afro-Unu never claimed that. He knows, in fact, that brother claimed the opposite. He knows that brother said he was a student of Afro-Unu and that he's not Afro-Unu. And the only thing that Tarnoon has to ride on is the brother Eugene's wife claiming her husband is Afro-Unu, right? That's the only thing he's ride on. But so my question to the public, whose word should you take? The actual guy or his wife? And think about this. His wife didn't even meet him till he's 54 years old. He's already an elder is when that woman met him. Okay? Supposedly he had already had this information in his brain. So it was, for the most part, already created before he wrote it down. But that's a whole nother saga. We're gonna get into the details, and we're gonna use the nature books to prove that Eugene Brown, rest his soul, did not write those books. Tarnoon has been taking advantage of Nuwaupians who hasn't studied the nature information. Of course, us here at NoopooH.org, NoopooH, listen, we put up NoopooH.com in 2007. I've been studying the nature and nature of books since 2006. I've been studying right knowledge as a student of the master teacher since 1989. Now, I don't know when Tarnoon got a hold of the nature and nature of books. I know when I saw him on Sinetta talking about it, I think it was like in 2009. So that was 3 years after the fact that I already had the information. We was already building, me and numerous of brothers who were already aware of this information. So, again, he has been influencing people who hasn't studied it. And now, when it comes to Chuck Morgan, first, think about this. This brother supposedly had some cultural insight about what it means to be black, but yet he chooses a Caucasian name to go by. At least Tarnoon still uses an African name. I give that brother.
So what's your motivation to keep the ties to this culture? Yeah.
Chuck went right back to the slave master's name. Think about that. Think about that. Obviously, he never comprehended what we taught about language. I know he doesn't comprehend the science of sounds, tones, vibrations, and frequencies and what that represents in all existence. So I know he doesn't comprehend that part of the doctrine. And he's one of the biggest proponents in his plagiarism thing. But check this out. One of his biggest arguments is about the breath book. Another lie. He pushes that the master teacher plagiarized the breath book. First it was from the Hindu god, which they thought this Hindu god, what his name, Yogi, Rama, whatever the heck his name is. Then they find out that no, there wasn't no Hindu. It was a Caucasian that put that book out, right? And that's what Chuck eventually came to realize. So this was a Caucasian. Now think about this. This book came out in the early 1900s. This Caucasian was around, 1800s, something like that. I think it was a lawyer.
Okay.
What Caucasian is a master, becomes a master when it comes to the metaphysical sciences and teaching about the science of breath?
And a lawyer, I mean, that's...
When did he have the time to study it? He wrote the books in a pseudonym under this Hindu practitioner. If you do further research, listen, anybody in their right mind will, if you do further research, you will, and we're going to expose this, that Caucasian did not write that breath book. That breath book, like the master put out a book called The Prophet, written by Khalil Gibran, right?
That's right.
Plagiarized. That brother didn't write that book. Now the master gave that guy credit when he put that book out. The question is, why did the master put out the book called The Prophet and said who the author was Khalil Gibran, right? I think it was a Lebanese guy, okay? Mm-hmm. But then he puts out the breath book and doesn't tell people who the actual author is. On one book, he does tell you who the author is, and we put it out as a Nuwaupian Nation. But then we put out another book, right, the breath book, and we don't tell you. Because there's more to it than that. There's more to it than what they think. Chuck makes the, I heard him, he says, Dr. York used to say stuff like, you go to the library, right, and that's where they bury the lies.
Yeah.
And he was joking, clowning the master. Now he said, how stupid is that? Why would you want to go to the library where lies are buried? Why would you want to go to the library where lies are buried? Why would you want to uncover lies? Now, Chuck, my goodness. All you have to do, and people who listen to this brother, all you have to do is get the book Stolen Legacy.
George James, that's right.
All that book is teaching is that all the credit that the Greeks got for Greek philosophy, scientific thought, they stole, plagiarized from ancient Kemet, from Egypt, right? They took those books, Plato, Aristotle, Socrates, and put it in their library. They buried lies. But you got to go to the lies, uncover the lies, to put out the truth. Lies are buried. That they wrote books, that they plagiarized, took credit for knowledge that wasn't their knowledge, and buried it in this place they call where they bury the lies, right?
That's right.
And they say that's where their knowledge is. And so you got to go to this place where the lies are buried, uncover the lies to teach the truth. Because that was our ancient doctrine that they lied about in their library. You get it? You get it now? I hope they get it. I hope that's more elementary for you, since you couldn't figure it out.
We gotta use more critical thinking. All the different things and question more. Question more, think more. Analyze what we say. Analyze who we're judging, who we think we're judging.
Our people are slow, man. I mean, it's not our fault.
I mean, this whole video is about what? Lies and rumors and slanders and it's false.
It's nasty, false.
Can we talk about that real quick? Just the spirit in us that's making us do that. Like, why we even feel to go so negative about somebody that we don't know, we don't interact with.
And we're going to address this more, but again, when a master teacher put out the nature and Bible interpretations, Tarnoon, not Johnny Brown, as you guys are pushing that nasty lie. And again, we're going to address that in detail, right? But anyway, the master teacher put out in the Bible interpretations and explained in detail over and over. He put out in the Right Knowledge series that the black woman and the black man are suffering from a hypnotic spell we call the spell of Leviathan that deals with racial blindness and spiritual ignorance. I'm going to repeat that. This spell that was cast on us 6,000 years ago created racial blindness and spiritual ignorance, where our people in Africa 6,000 years ago became ignorant to the science of the races. They became ignorant to the science of the races, which is why we became so divided. And we started mixing in 6,000 years ago. Now, when you get the book, Destruction of a Black Civilization, that brother goes into that. He goes into that. Chancellor Williams, how 6,000 years ago, what destroyed us was the mixing in. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Spiritually ignorant. That's why we say, we're going to come with the video, is the conscious community conscious? They think consciousness is knowing black history. And that they don't deal with the science between the mind versus the brain. Let me repeat that. Is the black conscious community really conscious? Because they don't deal with consciousness. They think consciousness is knowing black history. Where did they get that from? They got that from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and them. They're right to an extent because we were so dead after slavery, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad had to come and say, yo, you're the Asiatic black man, maker, owner, creator of the planet Earth, father of civilization and gods of the universe. Right?
That's right.
So he raised a level of conscious awareness about who we are. But is that really the concept of consciousness? Because when you're dealing with consciousness, that's in reference to the mind, thought, intellect, reasonability.
Awareness and perception.
Awareness, perception, yes. In reference to the brain. The physical versus the immaterial. Right? The material realm versus the immaterial realm. We did lecture on that. Please check it out. What is the difference between the spirit and soul in reference to the human body? Check that lecture out, people, because we go into that in detail. So again, all I'm saying is this. These are nasty lies that the public, that these disagreeables have put out there. And it's why I explain why these brothers are hurt. They wanted a savior. And when they seen the disagreeable ones kidnap the master teacher, it crushed their world. And then they don't know what. See, as you see, Chuck Moore, he went right back to the European way of doing things. And it's like he's probably got a job. He's paying electric bill. He's right back into the European culture. He forgot about the white man being the devil. He just it doesn't even compute his brain how they're killing us by the millions. Poison food. They poison the atmosphere. They keep lying. They say that they're God. That's one of their lies. They keep pushing on our brains. They keep pushing. They control and make laws that keep us economically depressed. They control all the resources. They control the laws. They dictate to us on every level you can think about. And yet, he wants to still be their friend. Who's really the sick one? Every race of people on the planet know that the black man and the black woman are slave to the Caucasian but black people. Everyone knows that.
You know, I saw this article on Facebook that I thought was quite interesting. It was a interview with a guy named Mr. Chang. I believe he's an entrepreneur, owns several businesses, and he basically was giving his critique of the black community. I'm gonna read you guys the interview, and then I'll give you my feedback on it. It says, interviewer, can you address their concerns, Mr. Chang? Mr. Chang says, the concerns of black people? Yes, I can. The fact is that we all live under a system of white supremacy. We Asian people look back at our long history of conflict with Europeans. We observe their strategies and develop our own in response and in kind. There is no need for a loud mass movement on our part, because that's an insult to the black community. You guys can pick that up. Because we intend to overtake them in time through action and personal sacrifice. The interviewer says, and the black man, Mr. Chang? Mr. Chang says, he does not count in our situation. He is simply here. We do not hate the black man. We just love the Asian man most. Real love, not clique. Excuse me. We want to see Asian man happy, so we employ him. We eat together. We spend time with each other. We want his kids to be educated, so we invest in our schools that offer our children the technical abilities to change the world's power structure in our favor. We want to see the Asian man safe, so we proceed to organize our own communities. We want him to remain Asian, so we reduce the outside influence of other ideologies and cultures. While he fought to sniff behind the white man, the black man has had the opportunity and every right in the world to do the same, but he chooses to indict people like me for not hiring him over my own brothers. For me to do this would be foolish, and that would not be Asian love. In contrast, the black man will fight for the right to be up under everyone else other than other black people who he should feel the most love for. And our indifference to their situation make us racist. Then what would you call the black man's indifference to his own situation?
We're sick people. We, unfortunately, have become the laughingstock of other races of people. That's why when Haiti had that earthquake, the darn, I think it was the Taiwanese, the Vietnamese, one of them, offered to give them skin bleaching cream. So maybe if you get some skin bleaching cream and bleach your skin pale, you'll feel better about yourself. This is what I think one of them Asian countries said that to those brothers. I think, what's that, rich lady, one of the rich ladies, Leon, I don't know if it was Leon or Helmsley or something like that.
Put it up.
And the people were starving in Ethiopia. And she said, well, I'll send them some dog food. They can eat dog food. I'll send them dog food. And these brothers, and they want a job. Chucking them, they still want a job. They want to be like Puff Daddy and get like $1 million from their slave master. So they can be blinging it up and living it up. And yeah, I mean, you still are blinded by the Caucasian in their light. And you know, the brothers, the Wu-Tang Clan, they said, you know, to be in the limelight, to be in the spotlight, among the moonlight, that's what we're still striving for. Wake up, people. Wake up. It's time to get away from the blinding light. You've been taught that dark is bad and light is right. Light blinds.